Welcome back to our Richest YouTube channel. Today's class we're going to be learning how to make this beautiful dress that we see here. So this dress has this band in front, it has a strap, it has pockets by the side, and then it has this adjustable elastic band at the back. It's a very beautiful dress and it's very simple to make, beginner friendly as well. If this is something you would like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. Okay, so I'm using this ankara fabric for this dress. Okay, and I think my yellow chalk is not so visible, so I'm going to be working with this blue chalk. So the width that I'm going to be working with is my hip measurement multiplied by 2. This is totally up to you and how big you want your dress to be, but my hip is 46 and I'm going to multiply that by 2 and it's going to give me about 92 inches. So I'll just round it off to 100. So that's the width that I'm working with. And then the depth differs. Okay, the front is quite different from the back. So now I have cut it separately. I cut, remember, my entire width is going to be 100 inches. So I have 50 for front and 50 for back. I'm not cutting it together because I want a pocket on the side. So if you are not putting a pocket on your sides, you can just cut everything together and then you find a way to blend it in. So this is going to be for the front, 50 inches in width. This is going to be for the back, 50 inches in width as well. And the 50 inches was gotten from my hip measurement multiplied by 2. Please remember that. And it's not static, it can be anything you want. It's just up to you and how big you want your dress to be. So first I'm going to be working on the front. So for the front, my entire gown length is 40 inches. So I'm going to be adding 2 inches to that. So I'll add 2 inches to my gown length and that's going to make it 42 inches. I hope the camera can take it off. So now I'll just place my tape from the hem. You can see this is 42 inches. Okay, so I have 42 inches here and then I'll measure it to the upper part. So you can see this is supposed to be my starting point here. So now to shape the front, I'm just going to mark my starting point. Remember, this is an off shoulder, so this starting point now is from the shoulder. The 42 inches is from the shoulder downwards. So the first thing I'm going to do now is to remove what I want for my off shoulder. So I'm going to be going off by 6 inches. So now here I'm just going to, from the starting point, I'm going to mark the 6 inches and then make that into a straight line. This is for the front piece. Okay, so now after going up by 6 inches for my off shoulder, you can see it, there is a band in front. So it depends on how wide you want your band to be. For me, I want my band to be around 2 inches wide. So from that 6 inches off, you're going to measure another 2 inches and then you're going to connect it like this. Okay, so this is going to be the length that I need for my front. So it's going to start from these 2 inches that remember I first went up by 6 inches for my off shoulder and then I came down by 2 inches for the band that you have in front. So now this is what I have left to make up the 42 inches that I'm working with. You can see that I still have the 42 inches including hemming allowance. So what I'm going to do now is to just cut it off on this point so that I can shape my armhole, and that's for the front. So for the back is really low, but I don't want mine to be too low. The length remains the same. So what I'm going to do first is to mark my starting point as well. So just like I did for the front, I'm going to mark the 42 inches. I'm doing this so that it can be beginner friendly. You can just go ahead and take it off without going through all of this. So after marking my 42 inches, I'm going to make that into a straight line and that's going to be the starting. So we have our starting point here. So like I said, the back is really low, but for me, I'm just going to be leaving it as my armhole measurement because I don't want it too low. My armhole is 9 inches. Okay, so now my armhole stops here and I'm going to mark that as the starting point for my back, and then I'm going to connect it like this. Remember, the back has no armhole, at the same time it has no band. So that is where it's going to, just like a tube, like you draft your tube. So it's stopping where my armhole stops. But if you want yours to be lower, you can just go low by 1 inch or 2 inches, but don't go too low because you don't want your armpit to be showing. So now I'm cutting this for my back. So So this is the back and this is the front. You can see the front is going to be a little higher than the back because of the way it is measured. So you can see, and we are still going to be joining a 2 inches band to the front, so you can see the difference that we have. So it is folded into 4 for me to cut easily. Now to shape it, I'm going to be folding it into 2. For the back, you don't need any shaping because it does not have a ham, or there's no ham hole on the back, so we're just going to leave the back as it is. So but for the front, remember, after folding into 2, you have this fold points, and then you have the other side, which is the open part. So that's where your armhole is going to sit, and that's where we're going to shape. So we have, let me turn it like this so that we can see it. So this is the starting point here. So you can see that it is in excess because our round chest, okay, which this is going to sit on. Our round chest is not this big. For me, the round chest I'm working with is actually 40 inches. So if you divide it by 2, it's going to give you 20 inches. That's 20 inches for the front and 20 inches for the back. So you can see what I have here. I have up to 25 inches on fold, which is 15 inches instead of 20 inches. So what we're going to do now is to gather all of this back to the 20 inches that we need for the front. So before we do that, I'm going to just create my armhole curve. Remember, I have already gone off by 6 inches first for the front, and then I took another 2 inches for my band. That's 8 inches, and my armhole is 9 inches. So this is where my armhole stops. Okay, that's how you're going to calculate it. This is where my armhole stops. So now to create the armhole curve from here, I'm just going to come in by around 4 inches. Okay, remember we are still going to sew it, so 4 or 5 inches is okay. And then I'm going to draw a curve here for my armhole. My band is going to make up the rest of the armhole, and there's also a strap for that. I don't want the hem to be too low so that you not be exposing too much on the armpit. So what I'm going to do now is to cut this shape that I have off, and that's going to be my armhole. So all of this now that you have here, from where your armhole starts, you're going to gather it back to your actual measurements. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to cut is my band. Okay, so for the band, I have put my fabric on fold by 2, sorry. It's just for the front. And then remember I said my round chest measurement is 40, so divided by 4 is going to give me 10 inches. So I have 10 inches here. I'm just going to add 1 inch as allowance for sewing on this side. So that's what I have. After that, I'm going to, remember my band is 2 inches, so I'm going to mark out 3 inches because I need to sew it on the upper part, and then I'm going to sew it on the lower part as well, so that I can have my 2 inches, which is what I have marked here. Okay, so this is what I need for my band. So let me just cut this out first so that we don't get confused. So after cutting it out, the next thing is to shape this band. So on this upper part, depending on where you want to place your strap, so I'm just going to mark 6 inches. So if you mark 6 inches, it means you have 12 inches, but I'm still going to sew it on the side, so that's why I just leave it as 12. But 5 inches is okay. So by the time you, for a big size, 5 inches is okay. By the time you open it out, it's going to be around 10 inches, and then for a small size, you can just use 4 inches. Just work with whatever it is that you want. But I'm just going to be leaving this 6 inches. I can still adjust it later and then place my band anywhere I want. I don't want this to expose too much. You don't have to place the band at the edge as well. You can just place it somewhere here. So I have 6 inches here. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to connect now for my armhole. Okay, just like this, to create your armhole curve. So now I'm going to come here and then cut out my armhole. So now this is what I have. Okay, and this is what you're going to use to gather the front. Remember, we have created our armhole for the front as well. Okay, so this is how it's just going to continue, so you can see. So this is the armhole like this. So I'm going to gather all of this into this band. So now I'm going to cut lining or facing for the band as well. But please, when you're cutting yours, kindly put like ½ an inch. I'm going to recut this. Remember, we're going to sew it together so that it's not going to be too tiny. You leave like ½ an inch for you to be able to sew it together. And then when I'm cutting lining, facing for my lining, I'm going to include this as well so that I can use it to turn this armhole neatly I don't want to add lining to this, so I'm going to go ahead and cut out facing for this as well. Okay, so I've gone ahead to recut this now, and then you can see that I have enough to sew it back. So for the lining, I just placed another fabric on fold like this, and then I placed this band on it. So after placing the band, I placed the remaining fabric, which is the main fabric that I have, just like this as well, and then I sew it. So you have, it's supposed to blend like this because it's an armhole, but it's like this because of the half an inch that we're going to sew together. So by the time we sew the half an inch together, everything is just going to rhyme just like we have it here. So you can do it like this, or you can just turn your armhole separately and then you cut your band on fold probably, and then use that. But I just wanted to be able to turn my armhole together with my band. That's why I'm cutting like this. So this is my facing and this is my actual band. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut my strap. So for the strap, remember, for my off shoulder in front, I went off by 6 inches, and then for the band back, I went off by 9 inches. So 6 plus 9 is going to give me 15 inches. That's what I'm going to use to cut my strap. I'll just add 1 inch for allowance, and I'm going to cut out a strap of 16 inches long. So now the width can be as wide as you want it to be. So for me, like half an inch is okay. So now I'm going to be folding 0.75 on fold so that I can sew it and have my half an inch back. If you want it to be thicker, you can make it as thick as you want. So I'll just put it on fold like this so that I can cut the two sides together, and then I'm going to mark my 16 inches and then I'll cut it out. So now what you just need to do is to turn this strap. So these are my 2 straps cut out. I'm just going to fold it and sew, and I'll turn it. So for the back, all you just need to do is to go ahead and cut out a band of the same 15 inches width that we have here, and then it's going to be around 2 inches long. Okay, so what you just need to do is to just turn this like this, and then you sew it. You sew your band to your back, and then you flip it. What you are doing is just to create a channel for your elastic. So you cut the exact width that you have. So the channel is what is, the elastic is what is going to gather it to your actual size. So now we'll go ahead and sew. So for the front, I'm going to start by gathering everything that I have on the front into this band that I have. So I'll go ahead and gather it now and bring it back to show us. Okay, so I've gone ahead to gather. As you can see now, it is gathered to the size of the band. So this is what it looks like now. You can see our band here, and you can see our gather. So you can see now that the armhole now looks better. So at this point, if you want to increase your armhole or you want to adjust it at any point in time, you can just go ahead and do this. But I think I'm okay with the armhole that I have here so far. So this is my strap as well. I have gone ahead to turn my strap. So what I'm going to do now is to fix this strap on this part so that I can use my facing to turn it neatly. So after fixing it, so what you just need to do is to put your dress on fold. You're going to notch the midpoint. Then after notching the midpoint, you must have decided where you want your strap to be placed. So from that notched midpoint, you just measure. For me, I think I'm going to place it around 5 inches, which is going to be around 10 inches for me. So I'll just place my strap here, hold it with my pin, and then you do the same thing for the other side as well. You measure and place your strap. So after holding, what you need to do is turn it. So after placing the strap, I hope you can see it, you just cover up with your facing just like this, and then you sew it. So now after sewing it, now I'll go ahead and sew my armhole as well so that I can neatly conceal the armhole. So after sewing the armhole, so you are going to reshape this. Remember when we cut it out, we still have that 5 inches excess. So I'll just place it on each other now and reshape to have exactly the same thing, and then I'm going to sew it and sew a little bit of this side so that I can turn it out neatly. So now that is it about the front. So for the back, I've gone ahead to create my casing with the band that I cut out. So you just sew your band and then you flip it so that you have this casing. So I'm using 1 inch elastic. You can use whatever size that you want because my casing is 1 inch as well. So now remember my round where I'm placing this is 40 inches, so divided by 2 is 20 inches for front and 20 inches for back. So I'll just go ahead and cut out the 20 inches. You can deduct a little bit from it, but I don't want it too tight, so I can cut it on that point. And then with the help of my safety pin, I'm going to insert this elastic through the channel that I have created. Okay, so but before you do this, you may want to just loosen you may want to insert your other strap to this. Okay, but for me, I'm just going to place it after sewing it. I'll just aim the strap and then place it somewhere here. But if you want it to be embedded in your band, all you just need to do is just like we are doing for the front. Before you turn your band, you sew your strap in between the main bodies and the band. But for me, like I said, I'm just going to place it somewhere here. So okay, so for neatness, I think I'm just going to loosen this band and then place my strap in between. So if you are wondering, okay, where you place your strap, so what I'm going to do is to fold this 15 inches into 2, then you're going to have 25 inches. So after doing that, I'm going to fold into 2 again, and that's going to be 12.5 inches. So I'll just note that point on both sides. Okay, so now if you open it out, this is what it looks like. So this is where I'm going to be inserting my strap. So you can see now I have fixed my strap to the front. So this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to use my lining to turn it back in, and for the back as well, I have inserted the strap in between my band, and then I've fixed my elastic. So this is what I have so far. So what I'm going to do next now is to just place my facing on the front, and then I'm going to use it to turn it neatly. So the facing is sewn now, as you can see. So you just need to notch it on the necessary areas, and then you're going to flip it. So once you flip it, you will see that this is the armhole. You can see how clean the armhole is looking now, and this is the other armhole. Okay, so the facing is just going to make it neat for you, and this is what the inside looks like. So the facing is long enough to cover up the sewing that we have, the gathering that we have there as well. So you just go ahead and iron this. So after this, now the last thing to do is just to lay the front and back on each other, and then you go ahead to sew it by the sides. But for me, I want to fix a pocket, like I said, on the sides of this, which was why I slitted this in the first place. So you can see now it has to be exactly the same if your calculation is correct. Okay, you can see the hemline. Okay, you can see the starting point now. It has to be exactly the same if you calculated it correctly, just like we did earlier in the video. So what you just need to do now is to lay the front and back. Okay, you can see the front is going to start from where the armhole stop for the front, and then for the back, just where you have your elastic. That's how you're going to place it against each other like this, and then you sew it down on both sides. So for me, I'll go ahead and fix my pocket. If you don't know how to fix a pocket, there is a tutorial on how to fix a side pocket already on the channel, so you can watch that tutorial. I'll just fix the pocket on it now, and then I'm going to close it on the side and hem it on the lower part. So I have joined the sides now. So this is what my outfit is looking like. You can see my strap neatly concealed. This is the band for the front, and this is the side pocket that I fixed. So like I said, if you want a side pocket for yours as well, the link to the tutorial is going to be dropped under the comment section down below. So this is what it looks like on the front, and this is what the back looks like. So for me, you can see I cut a facing for mine. I did this because of those that may want to include armhole in their outfit, so that's why I just included a little bit of my armhole into my main bodies. But to make this easier for you, you can just make sure that all of your armhole is included in your band, so that you can just cut your band and then use it to finish this off. So now if you use it to finish it off, it's going to be in this size. So what you just need to do now is to fold this like this, and then you just sew it around, just like we created channel for the back. Whichever one you choose to work with is fine, and you can see how beautiful this dress is looking. So now I'll take this to the mannequin so that we can see what it looks like. Okay, so this is what our gorgeous dress is looking like on the mannequin. You can see the strap that we have there. This is the band for the front, this is our gathers, and this is the full view of the dress. So now this is what it looks like on the side. You can see the armhole is neatly finished, and this is what we have on the back. So this adjustable elastic is just going to make it easy for anybody to wear. So this is what it looks like, and we have a pocket by the sides as well. So if you want a tutorial on the pocket, it's already uploaded on the channel. You can check that out. I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful dress with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.